Prince Andrew, once the golden boy of the British royal family, is now one of its most controversial figures. From military heroism to scandal, his life has been a roller coaster that captivated the public and shocked the world. What happened to this charming prince, once hailed as the darling of the British press, that led him to become the royal family's most disgraced member? Let's take a deep dive into the scandalous rise and fall of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew was born on February 19, 1960, as the second son of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. As a member of the British royal family, he was born into unimaginable privilege. His life was mapped out from the beginning: wealth, fame, and a front-row seat to history. The world watched as he grew up, often appearing in the media with his famous parents and siblings, Prince Charles, Princess Anne, and Prince Edward. However, it wasn't just his royal lineage that made Prince Andrew stand out. He was known for his dashing looks, easy charm, and daredevil spirit. While his older brother Charles was the heir to the throne, Andrew carved out his own identity in the spotlight. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, he became known for his youthful exuberance, his involvement in high society, and his image as the quintessential bachelor. In 1982, Prince Andrew's popularity skyrocketed. Unlike most members of the royal family, who remained at home during times of crisis, Andrew stepped up to serve his country in the Falklands War. As a helicopter pilot in the Royal Navy, he flew missions in the South Atlantic, putting his life on the line. His courage during the conflict made him a national hero, and the British press couldn't get enough of him. The media dubbed him the Royal with Guts and praised him for his bravery. His public image as a handsome, action-oriented prince who wasn't afraid of danger seemed to add to his allure. The press lauded his military service, and he became an icon of youthful masculinity and adventure. Andrew was no longer just a prince, he was a war hero. In 1986, Andrew's personal life became just as captivating. He married Sarah Ferguson, affectionately known as Fergie. Their wedding was a fairy tale come to life, a true royal love story, with the press eagerly chronicling their romance. Sarah was a fiery redhead, known for her free-spirited nature, and together, she and Andrew seemed to be the perfect match. Their marriage, however, didn't live up to its storybook expectations. Behind the closed doors of Buckingham Palace, tensions began to rise. By 1992, just 6 years after their lavish wedding, Andrew and Sarah had separated. Their divorce came a few years later, and the royal fairy tale was officially over. Sarah Ferguson's personal life, too, made headlines when she was photographed in 1992 on holiday with her financial advisor, John Bryan. The image of Bryan sucking on her toes shocked the British public, and the scandal was the final straw for Andrew and Sarah's marriage. The royal couple was now fodder for the tabloids, and the press, which once adored them, now eagerly dissected every moment of their crumbling relationship. In the 2000s, Prince Andrew's life would take an even darker turn. His name would become intertwined with one of the most notorious scandals of the era, that of Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein, a convicted pedophile who trafficked young girls to powerful men, had a close relationship with Prince Andrew. The two were frequently photographed together, and rumors about their connection began to swirl. The press seized on the relationship, with many speculating that Andrew may have been involved in Epstein's criminal activities. Andrew publicly denied any wrongdoing, but the connection to Epstein would not go away. It became a major point of contention, and the media was relentless in pursuing any new details about the prince's association with the financier. The settlement, though a way for Andrew to avoid further legal consequences, was perceived by many as the final nail in his royal coffin. The damage to his reputation was irreparable. Once a beloved member of the royal family, Andrew had now become the subject of endless scandal and disgrace. By the time Prince Andrew's father, Prince Philip, passed away in 2021, the prince had been effectively stripped of his royal duties. He was no longer the face of the monarchy at public events, and his title as the Duke of York seemed like a distant memory. Andrew, once a prominent member of the royal family, had been relegated to the background. Though he was still allowed to attend some royal events, his presence was often seen as a reminder of how far he had fallen. His public image was now permanently tarnished, and he was increasingly viewed as a liability to the royal family. The coronation of his brother, King Charles III, in 2023, was perhaps the most symbolic moment of Andrew's fall from grace. While Andrew was still allowed to attend, it was clear that he was no longer the central figure he once was. His royal status was a shadow of its former self. In December 2023, Prince Andrew appeared at a Christmas service alongside his family. The world watched, waiting for another scandal to break, but Andrew kept a low profile. The press, however, was still fixated on him. Would there be more revelations? Was there still more to uncover about his past? Despite the legal battles seemingly being over, the damage to his reputation was permanent. Prince Andrew will likely never regain the public standing he once had. The legacy he had hoped to build as a royal has been irreparably tarnished by his association with Epstein and the sexual abuse allegations. The fall of Prince Andrew is a tragic tale of power, privilege, and poor choices. From war hero to royal outcast, his story is a cautionary tale of how a reputation can be shattered in an instant. The public has watched in disbelief as a beloved prince turned into one of the most controversial and disgraced figures in modern royal history. His legacy, once golden, is now stained by scandal and disgrace. As the world watches, one question remains: will Prince Andrew ever regain his place in the royal family? Or has his legacy already been sealed by his scandals? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the once charming, dashing prince will never be the same again. Prince Andrew's fall from grace is not just a personal tragedy, it's a story that will haunt the British royal family for years to come. It serves as a reminder that even those born into power and privilege are not immune to the consequences of their actions.